Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ask the CEO with Avrohom. Today, I'd like to introduce a very special guest. He's the global business head for low-code, no-code automation and integration practice at Infosys. It is my pleasure to welcome Himanshu Arora. Welcome, Himanshu.
Well, thank you, Avrohom. Really appreciate it, and it's great to be on this call with you.
Yeah, it's really great speaking with you. I'm really excited to speak with you. Low code, no code is a new term in today's software development world, and everyone's talking about it as if it's the next greatest thing. Can you tell me, what is low code, no code, and why is it so helpful?
No, absolutely, Avrohom. I think this question gets asked to me almost like twice a week these days to whichever customers and clienteles that I go to. But we have to realize that as an industry, we are at an inflection point where we must prepare our businesses to adapt their core as rapidly as our customers shift their needs, right? Especially after the pandemic, everybody wants to go to the digital transformation and make changes happen without realizing that the fundamentals have shifted. Our workforces, our workplaces are no longer the traditional organizational boundaries that we had pre-pandemic, right? We need more problem finders than we have the solvers in the equation right now. And hence the need today is to go ahead and get the right need for speed for change for this transformation. And that's exactly where these low-code, no-code platforms come in. These platforms come in because they can visually aid the application development. They can bring a lot of acceleration with the prepackaged templates, the prepackaged workflows, the hyper automations and the integrations in them. They can really increase the speed because they can elevate the problems of digital talent, which is so scarce right now, and hence enabling citizen developers to be able to make this change and do this app development. That is the category low-code, no-code platforms fit into it.
That sounds really good. And I'm just imagining, especially where, we're living now in a post-pandemic world where geographic boundaries have basically been erased, and you can have a globally dispersed team that gets hired very quickly, and they need to start performing quickly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The network of gig workers, actual workforce, contractors, partners, suppliers, being able to bring them together to enhance creativity and collaboration with these platforms. I think that is the key and a much needed key for accelerating digital transformation for future.
Great. So now expanding on that, where does Infosys come to play, and how do you help your clients?
Fantastic question, Avrohom. See, the power of these low-code platforms can help either enterprises go and do a lot out of it or get in trouble, right? And that's exactly when you need a partner who can help you find the right problems to solve with low-code, no-code, help you define the right adoption curve, help you enable and teach you the right fundamentals of data, privacy, security, right? While developing these applications with low code, no code, help you define that governance mechanism. And most importantly, quote unquote, getting business and IT together to solve the right problems and make that organizational change happen to create that momentum, which you can do with leveraging low code, no code. So Infosys binds it all together with our digital fluidity framework to help business and IT come together to serve a new purpose in life, which is to get everybody together towards a common vision and goal towards creating these changes that the customers derive so right now.
Great. And, I really like that part about governance and cybersecurity. As you know, everyone is very conscious of their security needs, and given the daily occurrences of data breaches and companies of all shapes and sizes. Can you elaborate on the cybersecurity aspects?
Absolutely. Let me first give an analogy there, and then maybe get started with it. Yesterday, I was with a couple of friends at a restaurant, and we had just met after so long. So we decided to do BYOB, bring your own bottle, and spend a good, nice evening out there. But the same concept applies to citizen development and security principles as well. So on one hand, while with the shiny new objects and toys of low-code, no-code platforms, everybody can actually build their apps, and we call it do your own app paradigm, where the ability for us to teach and train and help everybody create these apps is great on one hand. But everybody forgets after creating these apps that somebody has to own these apps as well.
They have to maintain it.
Absolutely. So do your own apps, but in the process, own your apps. And when you have to own your apps, you have to really start thinking about getting the RBAC principles in mind, getting the right data security, security by design, privacy by design, looking at the data attributes, what is allowed versus not allowed, right? Where do you really need help from your core enterprise IT to come in and help you versus something that you can do on your own? What are the right boundaries of the use cases that you can do with this entire conversation? How can you enable security, especially for the external facing consumer apps that you're going to go ahead and put out there, and so on and so forth? And that is exactly what's important. So when we go ahead and do our adoption sessions with citizen developers, we do two things. One is to help them understand the concept of own your app, and hence all of these principles upfront before they start designing the applications. And point number two, creating a facade layer on top of the standard low-code, no-code platforms, which helps foolproofs to a good degree some of these principles, because we have coded it into that facade and help the citizen developers not make some basic mistakes in sharing all of that data and problems out there.
It's sort of like hard coding passwords or ID numbers.
Absolutely. And we have seen that in the past, by the way.
You know, one of the things that I'm familiar with software development. So I started my career as a software developer, and you know, you see this all the time when developers need to build something quickly. You know, they just cobble together something, and getting it done is more important than getting it done right. And you know, there are no comments anywhere. You know, how does no code, low code help with things like that?
Sure. See, the ability to do massive simplification of processes while enabling agility is the core of low code, no code. So when we go about working with our customers and the citizen developers and the citizen analysts in helping them ensure that they're solving the right problems, we also ensure that they're using the right design principles embedded within the low-code, no-code platforms to make it happen. And hence, for example, if you're defining a workflow or a process, which is to its basic sequence of or a dynamic set of steps done by a set of actors who have a defined role, right? And who interact with a set of systems, play with a certain set of data to be able to achieve its business outcome. There, I said it. But yeah, that's end of the day a business process. The ability for them to start thinking in those words and hence realizing, oh, I did not set up the right user permission for this role and this access. I did not even think about this integration and I hard-coded this data. I did not even think about what's the end KPI this app is going to deliver for what business process. I coded it, but to do what? Just because it helped me save 5 minutes of my work, right? But to do what? Yeah. That is the entire fundamentals that we get into with both from a mindset, the technology foolproofing, as well as leveraging the core out-of-the-box features of low-code, no-code platforms in this area.
That's really good. So Himanshu, what are 3 areas where we can leverage low-code, no-code to help move the needle in the software development industry?
Absolutely. See, the first and the foremost area is just to scale up and shore up the core digital transformation efforts. Even today, more than 60% of the organizations are sitting on core, older, legacy technologies and ways of working. every month I go to a customer and find out they've been sitting on a mainframe, COBOL, Lotus Notes, VB, Fox Pro.
Those things are still
it
out
still
there.
exists. Yeah. And every time that you go and look at those processes which are being enabled, because those technologies were right for the time, not today anymore. So for you to be able to go ahead and reimagine your business processes, your ways of working, your customer experiences, but if you have your system sitting out there in older technologies, it's very difficult. So that's the first and the foremost area to scale up your digital transformation in a big manner is where you can use low code, no code. The second is to scale up innovation. Today, I think innovation is a little bit held up in a lot of areas and it's failing in a lot of areas. But by being able to put innovation at a grassroots level in the hands of the day-to-day business and IT analysts and developers and strategists, there is so much more that you could do in innovation area with low code, no code because of those reasons, right? By itself. And the third and the most important piece of this puzzle is to leverage low code, no code as a set of baseboards with Lego building blocks on which you can go ahead and enable new products, new services, monetize all the data that you have so much more faster than what you could have imagined in terms of doing those projects probably a couple of years back.
Great, and you can leverage it faster and it gets done right the first time.
It gets done right.
Great. Himanshu, how can people connect with you to learn more about Infosys and about no-code, low-code?
Absolutely, Avrohom. So people can reach me on my email ID, which is Himanshu_Arora@infosys.com. I'm also available on LinkedIn and Twitter. You can look me up on Himanshu Arora on LinkedIn or Twitter as Himanshu DPA. At any point of time, ask me questions on anything to do with automation, integration, low code, no code, and digital transformation. We'd be happy to respond and happy to network.
Great. And I'll post that in the show notes so people can just click on that and get right to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Avrohom.
Great. Himanshu, do you have any parting words of wisdom that you'd like to share with the audience?
Sure. I'm hoping these are wisdom though, Avrohom, but absolutely, low code, no code is here to stay. It is a fantastic set of toolings which have evolved drastically in the last 4 to 5 years. And you can use it to do your own apps, just like the way you guys do bring your own bottles, right? And the party that you can get started with DYOA is tremendous because it can accelerate digital transformation to a new level. If you want to learn more about some of this, I'm also doing a webinar on 30th of June with HFS and one of our esteemed clients. We'll be talking more about how to accelerate digital transformation by leveraging low code, no code. And we'll send you some of those links as well shortly.
Great, and I'll post that as well so people can get to that and join that webinar. And for those that will be listening to this recording after that date, will that webinar be available as well?
Absolutely. It'll be available on demand as well.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Himanshu, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom. I really enjoyed having you on the show.
Well, thank you, Avrohom. Thank you for having me here and looking forward to talking more later.